everyone, this is Carla and you have reached my FlossTube channel, Carla being Crafty, where I talk about mostly cross stitch but also other crafts and a little bit of life thrown in. Today is my FlossTube number 28. It is Sunday, January 11th, I believe. And I just want to say welcome. If this is your first time coming to my channel, then I'm so glad that you found me, and I hope that you would like to stick around and subscribe. And if you are a returning subscriber, then thank you so much for coming back and watching. You know I enjoy spending this hour. It's not usually an hour, but this time with you on Sunday mornings and showing you all my stuff, and I have a lot of fun doing it, and I'm glad that you are watching me and enjoying it as well. So let us get into the good stuff. First thing I want to point out to you guys, and I never really try and direct you to behind me, but I don't know if you can see behind me this silver thing that's kind of at the entrance to my kitchen, and then it goes into, you can see fabric. So that huge ridiculous thing is a lap stand frame that I ended up getting for my new full coverage piece, Village Bookstore, excuse me, yes I do that, very unladylike bra strap thing. But I was just having such a difficult time stitching on that huge piece of fabric. I couldn't get comfortable stitching on it. It didn't fit in any of the stuff that I had. And so I really wanted to look at the possibilities for getting some kind of a floor stand or a stand. So I looked on eBay, and I have very limited funds, and I narrowed it down to two. So there was one that was a wooden kind of table stand thing that would have been able to pull forward, and that one looked really good to me, but it was, I think, almost $70, and I didn't want to spend that. And then I saw this thing, which is, from China. It's metal poles that are put together with, plastic, and it was like 20 something. So with tax, it was free shipping, but with tax, it turned out to be, I think, about $26. And so I decided, you know what? It is quite possibly a piece of crap, but I decided to go ahead and try it. So I got it. It came in very quickly, actually. It didn't come from China. It came from someplace in the US, but I got it really quickly and put it together, and it is kind of a piece of crap, but it also works. The thing that is ridiculous about it is it's huge. It's like 4 feet long. As I've said, I live in a studio apartment that's 420 square feet, and I have a lot of stuff. I'm not kind of a minimalist person. I do have a lot of stuff that takes up my apartment. So, and I do crafts, so, I'm having stuff everywhere. So there's no place to put it when I'm not working with it. But I guess the advantage of it being kind of a piece of crap is that it pulls apart pretty easy sometimes when I don't want it to. So I can kind of disassemble it. I still end up having this 4-foot thing, but it's at least a flat 4-foot thing instead of on a stand and 3-dimensional. So I can kind of take the stand part off and then kind of put it flatly in a big bag and put it in the closet flat. So when I got it last week, I got it I think Thursday, and I put it together, and I cut my hand because it's got these sharp metal poles, and I, like a dummy, tried to push one down like that. Yeah, that doesn't work. Anyway, I put it together, and I worked on my Village Bookstore, and there's another story with that. And it worked pretty well. I mean, for the stitching part, it works pretty well. And then just to see if I could, I did take it apart and put it, I have a big, huge, vacuum bag. So it's almost like a baggie that's 4 feet tall. It's a little bit longer than that, so I can't actually close the bag, but I kind of clipped the bag together, and the stitching was inside the bag, so that was protected. And I was able to put it in my closet. So then I pulled it out yesterday was able to kind of put it together in just 5 minutes, not even that, and then I was able to stitch on it yesterday. So I left it put together so that you guys could kind of see it. And so it's something that I can pull out like on the weekend, and then, you know, so it's not hanging around, and, you know, I don't want it, I want the stitching protected, so I wouldn't just leave it out for like days and days at a time. But yeah, so I got that. So that, I guess, is haul, which is usually I put at the end of my videos, but I did want to tell you about that. So so we'll get back into the whole Village Bookstore thing when I get into talking about my whips, but I did get that frame, and as I said, it was, you know, it was fairly inexpensive. It's ridiculously huge, but I am able to put the whole fabric on it, which was kind of my problem with all this extra like fabric that didn't fit anywhere, and I am able to stitch on it fairly well. So that is my big full coverage frame now. So I didn't realize, I guess, until I started working on the Village Bookstore, like the quick stitches that I'm doing that I have in my Q-snappy type frames, you know, they felt big when I've been working on them until, you know, I started this new piece, and then I realized that this isn't that big, and that's like the whole stitch. So it just feels big because it's full coverage, but as far as working with it and it being unwieldy and stuff, it's not really. So I did, with this new Village Bookstore Hay, had to kind of like get used to a new animal. Okay, so the first thing I kind of wanted to show you guys, because everybody's talking about their planners, and I did show you this last week, that I'm not necessarily a planner person. I mean, I would like to be a planner person, but I'm just not gonna be a planner person. But I got this cool glitter notebook, and I just want to show you what I did, my very minimal sort of way to show my progress. So this page was for 2019. So all I really did is I wrote down all of the projects that I started, and I wrote down the date started if I knew it, which for 2019 I don't know exactly. The date finished, which most of these are just kind of like a, you know, like March or April. It's not really a date. I have a couple that I know when you get down lower. And then I have like kind of like notes, like finishes, or if it was a gift or whatever. And then the highlighted ones are the ones that I completed. So I have 2 pages of 2019, and then I have my statistics down here, which I told you guys. I had 39 starts. I had 23 fully finished. Everything that I finished, I fully finished. And then I had 16 whips that I'm carrying into 2020. So I went ahead on 2020, and I went ahead and put all those 16 down. And then you can see down here where it starts getting a little bit fuller. That's like things that I've started this year. I put 3 pages for 2020 just in case. You can see I already have a finish, which I'll show you today. And then, okay, hi bags. And then the next thing that I did, which, you know, obviously since this is something that will last me for years, I have this section, and then next year, 2021, will be behind it, but that's fine. I just thought it'd be fun to kind of chart. I don't usually count stitches or anything like that on my regular projects. I don't have any need to. I don't do challenge groups where that's needed. But the only items that I have done that, for some reason that I started from the very beginning, I wrote down on my full coverage how many stitches I did during each stitching session. Part of it, I think, is just to kind of see how fast that I stitch on those. So I have those 2 or 3 now projects there. So this is, I've got my lavender roses on this page, and these are just the dates that I stitched on it and how many stitches I did, and like a running total. And then the highlighted part is what I ended at 2020. And I mean at what I ended at the end of 2019. So for Lavender Roses, the stitch count on that, because they're both quick stitches, these two, it's 175 by 122, which is 21,000 stitches, 21,350. I finished 2019 with 9,279 stitches, which is 43%. And then this page is Catnap Faye. That is 150 by 107 stitches, which is only 16,050 stitches. This is my stitching sessions on that one. And at the end of 2019, I ended the year with 3,480 stitches, which is 21%. And then I just started a page for the Village Bookstore. And this stitch count, now again, this is 10 stitches, and it is 450 by 635, so that's 285,750 stitches. Okay, so that's how I'm using this glitter notebook, and I'm enjoying that. It's like, it's not overwhelming to like fill this out. So I seem to be doing an okay job with doing that because I like writing down the new projects I start, etc. So, yeah, so, and then I also have my little, I showed you this guy, I think I showed you this before, that I have this running chart that I created, and I have this at work, so when I make changes, I just adjust it at work and then reprint it out. So I have my current whips, I have all of the charts that I have and want to start. So, you know, and that to me is a reminder, like, I don't need to buy new charts. Look, I have all of these patterns that I want to start. And then for each month, I have charts that I intend to start, charts that I would really like to finish that month, and then all the other whips I'm working on, and then notes as far as like sales, or like if I have a birthday gift, like it needs to be done by this time. So I've been able to, you know, kind of like, follow that chart pretty well, and I like having it, so I just keep that in here too. So that's my glitter notebook, my stitching glitter notebook, and I guess I can use this as well to take any kind of notes that I wanted to, but I don't want to necessarily take just like jotty down notes. I don't use this for my floss tubes. I have another notebook that I use to make notes on that. But so far I'm really liking this, and it does make me happy, the liquid glitter in it. So okay. My desk is like an explosion of cross stitching. Okay. So finishes for this past week. I did have one. I finished my February year of celebrations. So I have not obviously fully finished it yet, but I will get to that soon. I have a couple weeks to get that done. And that was the only finish I had. So my mom has another finish, which I haven't picked up from her yet. So I'm going to have two things to fully finish for her, 2 little pillows to do, and then this February one. So I'm going to have one day where I just have to sit down and do all that finishing stuff, because I tend to like to do it all at once. I don't, especially if it involves a sewing machine. I'm finding that I don't love sewing. I don't hate it either, but it's more of a big deal for me to do it, and it tends to make my back hurt a little bit, and I have to kind of pull stuff out, and you know, so it's a bigger deal for me to do kind of like the finishing projects. So yeah, so I like to kind of get them all done at one time. Okay, I had 2 new starts this week. I started, since I finished February year of celebrations, I started March, so that's March. And sorry, as I said, I have an explosion of cross stitch on my desk. So I just have a little start on it. Green. I like stitching with green, especially this green is really pretty, so I'm going to enjoy stitching on this. But I feel like I'm moving along really good with this project, and I'm getting everything each month completed well in advance of the month that I want to put it up, so that is making me happy. And then the other new start that I had, which I'm keeping in my strawberry bag that I made, is I started my Star Trek casts project that I'm doing for my brother. And as a reminder, I have all 4 of these charts from Fangirl Stitiches, I think is what it's called, from Etsy. So this is the original cast, and I'm putting them one under the other. And so what I'm doing is this one says Star Trek at the bottom. I took that out, put it at the top, and then I'm going to chart the original series, which actually I think all of the letters for that are in the other 3, so I should be able to, you know, chart it very easily and not have to make anything up. But I'm doing this as a present for my brother, just because, you know, I like having projects that are for other people. It's just, I don't know, it's fun for me to do that, and you know, this can be kind of a solitary hobby. I mean, I know because of FlossTube and because of getting together on stitchy days and stuff like that, it becomes less solitary, but it is kind of a solitary hobby, and I don't want it to be completely like just all me. So I do enjoy stitching on things for other people, and so I'm having fun with this. I love Star Trek myself. I wouldn't necessarily want to make a Star Trek thing for myself, but I do love making one for my brother. So this is my start. And I have Captain Kirk done, and Mr. Spock is started, and this is, excuse me, McCoy. Now the one of the changes that I have made is that the way it's charted, excuse me, the way it's charted, they're all charted with these eyes that are just like touching the hair, and I don't like that. It just bugs me. So I instead am doing little French knots for the eyes. I also kind of went online and did just a tiny bit of research to try and find out like eye colors of people, because a lot of them have very like obvious, like Dr. McCoy had very blue eyes, so I stitched him with blue eyes. And then Picard had hazel eyes, and then, you know, obviously Data has the yellow eyes, so I will be able to do a gold for him. And but yeah, I don't know, the way it was charted with the eyes was bothering me, so I went ahead and did the French knots, and I think that they look a little less weird that way. Excuse me. I am having the morning allergy things. Allergies are really bugging me this season. It's like I'm not congested, but I'm sneezing and coughing and feeling like scratchy throat, and it's making me feel like sick, like not like a cold sick, like sick to my stomach. It's affecting my digestive system. I think it's because all of this like post-nasal drip is getting into my digestive system, and it's wreaking havoc. Okay, so those are my 2 new starts. So the whips I worked on this year, this first week basically. This is the Suffrage Act, Little House Needleworks. I am doing this in Stitch Along with Stitching with the Sisterlies. So it's SWTS Suffrage is the sow. And I got a little bit further on this one. I brought this, the mortar, actually, I guess it's not the bricks. I brought the mortar all the way over, and did this and did this. So I kind of have like the outline of that center section completed and all lined up, which is good. So hopefully I counted right. And I like the way this is turning out. It's funny, if you go and look at the tag on Instagram, I'm the only, well, there's one other person who has a fabric that they dyed themselves, kind of with red and blue like splotches on a more neutral base, and that one's really pretty. But I'm the only one who has a non-neutral base fabric. So I guess I'm running against the crowd on that one, but I like how it's turning out. And I'm assuming it's Colleen who posted this rather than Cheryl, but I think it is Colleen. But she posted something on Instagram saying that anybody who's participating in this sale and posting, you know, posting at least once the Instagram tag, they're gonna do like a monthly giveaway drawing for everybody who is stitching on this, which is just like, first of all, so generous. So thank you very much if you're watching my video. Thank you so much, because that is just really great. But this is like really fun to stitch on, and so it's kind of like win-win, because you're getting to stitch that, have this great project, and then on top of that, you're automatically entered in a drawing for like the next 9 months. So I think that's really cool. And I think they're giving like a gift card to the LNS of your choice, or I guess 123 Stitch or whatever. For me, it would have to be 123 Stitch or an Etsy gift card, because I don't really have an LNS that's close to me. I mean, I know there's a couple in this area, but I've never been to them. And the other thing with me is, like, if I went to one, I would want to have funds to buy what I wanted to buy, and I just don't. So it's better to just shop online. Okay. I did a bit more on, this is from the Witchy Stitcher. This is Social Butterfly. And I am stitching on this. I'm stitching on this as a gift for my stepdaughter Taylor, but on top of that, I'm using it in honor of Jules' birthday, Moonshine Craft Cast. Her birthday sal is, now that I'm looking at it, I think I showed you guys this last week. I thought I worked on it again this week, but I don't know. Anyway, if I'm showing you this twice, sorry. But it is hashtag Creepy New Year sal. Yeah. And that's for Jules' birthday. And I just saw her video this morning that she put up yesterday or today or something. And I guess her birthday's Thursday. So happy birthday! Hopefully I'll remember on Thursday to go on Instagram and wish you happy birthday for reals. But if I don't, I do hope you have one. Spring Fling. Oops. I'm working on this. Brenda Gervais with the needle and thread. I thought it was would be kind of fun to get, like, I have this one and then I have the Fall, the Gombatti. I thought it'd be nice to be able to get this up by spring, but I don't know that I'm gonna. So I did actually get a start kind of on the giant bunny head. And I finished filling in this leaf, which I hadn't done last time. I did these little, you know, doodads out in the middle of nowhere. And then I did the bunny head, or I started on the bunny head. So I'm enjoying stitching on this one. This is, which makes no sense at all. I have this in my Floofy Cat bag that I made. I did have my Glendon Place All Hallows Eve in here, which made sense. And then when I took that away, because it's on hiatus until it gets, you know, to be summer when I want to do October stitching, I had an empty bag, so Spring Fling went in here, which makes no sense, but, which I just realized. But it's still a nice bag, so, what is this? Oh, I did a little bit on Moonstruck, Stitches No Health. This is the one that I had in my purse for so long, and I took it out because I realized it's just too hard to stitch on this without good lighting because of the black on black. There's a lot of black on black stitching on this. And even sitting at home, it's hard. I think this is gonna have to be something that I stitch, you know, sitting at my table with the light right on it instead of comfortably. So it's gonna take a while to get this done. It's just, it's just not a relaxing thing to stitch. When I did the other Mill Hill kits that I did last year for my friend Tracy, the wine ones, those are like relaxing to stitch and, you know, fun to stitch and everything. And I'm not saying this isn't fun, it is, but it's just not relaxing because it's just hard to see the dark threads on the black perforated paper. And so, yeah, which makes me even more hesitant to ever try stitching on black fabric. Okay, is that everything? I worked on my secret stitching that I can't really show you guys. We've got a little sneak peek there. And it's not like, when I say secret stitching, like, you know, it's not like I have some big release coming out or anything like that. I mean, I don't know, honestly, when I get done with this, if it's anything that, A, if anybody would be interested in stitching it besides me, or B, if, you know, if I even could create a pattern, because it's kind of a weird stitch, which I know I'm being all vague, which I always hate when people do that. But it's just that until it's done and until I have it in a format where I think it looks its very best, I don't want to show it to you guys because it is something that means a little bit to me. But then when I get it done, if I get a lot of good feedback, maybe I will try it and figure out a way to create a pattern that I could share, which is part of stuff I was going to talk to you about a little bit later. I've talked about opening an Etsy shop last year, and I think I am really leaning towards wanting to do that. I don't know if I'm going to have patterns in it right away. I mean, I don't have patterns to even put in it, but again, that's something that's I'm going to have to figure out how to do it. I don't know how. But I have all of these needle minders that I've showed you in a previous video, and then I'm going to have more needle minders and stuff, and I'll talk about that in a second. If they work. So yeah, I think I'm going to open one. I don't think that there's a huge downside to it, and have at least needle minders in there for a while. Maybe fabric, if there is a call for that. And so yeah, so that I think I am going to do that, and that hopefully will be happening in the first half of this year. I don't know exactly when. You know, I have to get certain supplies to be able to do that. I mean, I have to get mailing supplies. I have to maybe get business cards put together. So I've been on Vistaprint to look around and find business cards to make for myself for my little small crafting. I don't even want to call it a business because it isn't yet. My crafting side of my life, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, I do think that I'm going to do that sometime, and hopefully, you know, I mean, I know everybody loves needle minders, and anything that I would post is going to be not that expensive. So maybe I can make a few bucks and pass some of my creativity on to other people, and I think that that's in my plan. Okay, so that was all my whips. Normally I would show any haul or stash acquisition at this point. I did show my frame, so that was, I guess, the big one. And then the other thing that I have, I did have a small order from Etsy. I showed you last week those tiny little hoops, and I forgot to show this. This was like $1.50, I think it was on sale, and it's this little, it's actually slate. I just thought it was cute. I didn't realize it was going to be this small, because, you know, you see a picture and it says small, but, you know, I'm sure it had, like, the dimensions that I didn't even look at. I still think I think this would be really cute to, like, mount just a little tiny something on this. I don't know what. I will probably have to look in charts and stuff. Actually, there could be like a little Halloween ornament would look good on here. So anyway, it's 3 3/4 inches by 6 inches. So it's pretty tiny, but I just thought it was cute. And I think it will make a good little mounting something for a tiny project. And then the other things that I got, I have a grocery list stuck to them. These were free charts that I hear people talk about the linen and threads samplers, mystery samplers all the time. And I know that there's a new one that came out for 2020 that's like friends and family, Quaker style. I'm not super interested in mystery sals because I don't want to make a commitment to something that I don't know if I'm going to like it. You know, but Linen and Threads has had this mystery sal since 2017, and they have the charts for 2017, 2018, and 2019 online. They're free. I decided to go ahead and print them out. So 2017 I think is my favorite, and this is the one that I might actually eventually stitch. And let me see if I can find the full, okay, this is the full one. I mean, I'm sure 90% of you guys have seen these 1,000 times already. This is dark because that's this month, or the month that this print was for. So this one's a band sampler. This one I really like. I would not start it until I'm done with Froth and Bubble because it's the same kind of idea of a band sampler. I looked online a little bit to see how people stitch it. Some people have just stitched it all on color. I don't think I'd do that. Some people did it rainbow, which is something that I would be likely to do. But I did see one person who stitched it, and it was only like the top like 1 or 2 sections that this picture was, but it was so pretty. It was like a purple variegated and a green variegated, and I love purple and green together. And they just, you know, chose certain things to do the purple thread and some to do the green thread, and it just looked really, really good. And they were variegated threads, so it looked like it was a bunch of colors, when really it was probably just 2. So that's something that eventually I might like to do. The 2018 one was like a fantasy, like creature band samplery kind of thing. I don't love this. I love parts of it, I guess. But it's growing on me. Like when I first looked at it, I was like, eh. But then I went like, but I really like that middle part. Oh, but I really like the mermaids, and you know. So anyway, yeah, it's something that I like having. And then last year's 2019 was the Peacock Garden. I know a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people stitching on this. I know Crafty Peacock. I'm pretty sure Crafty Peacock is working on this one. And I don't know, there was a couple other people that I watched that have worked on this one. And this is really cute too. I mean, the peacock's really lovely, and then I like the butterflies and the swans and the squirrels, and yeah, so I do actually really like this one too. Again, I'm not sure how I would stitch it. One color is never going to be the right thing for me. But I do like the idea of variegated flosses and stuff, so I don't know. These aren't anything that's going to be stitched right away, but I enjoyed finding them and realizing that I could go ahead and print these, put these in my pattern stash, and have them for the future. So that was a score. 3 really nice patterns for no money. So linen and threads. They have these online to download, and which I think is really great. So okay, so that's all of my stitchy stuff. The other thing that that I started this week that, you know, I haven't completely fallen into a rabbit hole yet. I'm just intrigued. You know, when you're on Instagram, you know, ads come up, and of course, from whatever you search, they know what you're interested in. So I've been seeing a lot of ads for like resin art, resin jewelry, and they totally intrigue me. So I kind of like did a little bit of research and looked online and stuff like that, and I decided to go ahead and get just a few basic supplies. I didn't spend a lot of money, and I didn't get a lot of resin because the resin can be quite expensive, but I just got little bottles, so I spent like $15-16 to get the little. When you get like the big gallon of the good kind, those are getting into like $100. So if you're like a resin artist, of course you have to get that big stuff. But if you're a like, hey, I want to do something else that looks cool, yeah, that's not worth it. But I did get, you know, a few molds and a bunch of glitter and stuff to put in stuff, and I got the resin. So it's something that I did it yesterday, and it has to cure for 24 hours. So it's like, I can't even show you because I did this yesterday afternoon. So I won't be able to take it out. But yeah, I'm intrigued by that. And where it comes into like the stitching is, I think that I can make some really cool needle minders with it. And so I'm excited that that might be something that if I find this other art form that I like as well as the stitching, not that I like as well as the stitching, that I like in addition to the stitching, because I'm not going to stop stitching, but it might be something that I can use to enhance the stitching, you know, and I have some ideas, maybe even like stitching related coasters, which I think would be kind of a cool thing to sell in a shop that is stitching related, etc. So that's a new thing. If they turn out, the things that I made yesterday, if they turn out attractive or even semi-attractive, I'll show them to you next week. And yeah, so that might be something that I'm adding to my repertoire of crafts. So let's see, other plans that I might have. I did choose the fabric for, I'm going to start this on the 20th because the 20th is Tubishvat, which is the kind of Israeli Jewish Arbor Day, you know, so in honor of the whole tree. It's the New Year for trees is what it really is. So I'm going to start this Alessandra Adelaide pattern. And I pulled the flosses for it already. And then I tried to dye fabric I showed you guys a couple weeks ago. And it turned out pretty, but not right for this pattern. And then I was looking through the stash. And I had already dyed this. And I think that this one will actually look really pretty with the brown and then the green and the purple touches. So this is the fabric that I'm going to try and use. Again, it may be an unusual choice, but you guys are starting to get to know me, right? So I kind of like the unusual fabrics. And then these are the flosses. So I think actually that's going to look pretty. So I'm going to start that this month. And then, you know, it'll just go into my normal whip pile that I work on as I work on them. And let's see. The other thing, stitchy related, my mom requested a piece of gold fabric, like yellow gold fabric for me to dye. So I have to do that today because I'm going to go see her tomorrow. But I think that's it for all of my stitchy goodness this week. I hope that you guys are having a good start to your year, that you're getting back into the swing of life, which kind of can sometimes be hard after a holiday period like this. But I hope everybody's having a good time and enjoying stitching, etc. And I will see you again next week. In the meantime, please remember to always be content, be kind, and be crafty. This is Carla, and you are watching my channel, Carla Being Crafty. And have a great week, you guys. Bye-bye.